you see him okay? Do you want to move over here? Be on this side. Attention, everyone. If you could grab a napkin and wave it in the air, please.
Wave your napkins. Let's get everyone's attention. Tap your neighbor. Get their attention. Welcome. Hello and welcome everyone to the TDI 50th Anniversary Gala. My name is John Kinsler. JK is my name sign. And next to me is the lovely Angie Officer.
Thank you so much, John. Hello, everybody. I want to see those napkins. Wave them in the air. It's the 50th Anniversary Gala. Come on, wave those napkins high. Thank you. That's beautiful. It is so amazing. We're celebrating 50 fabulous years tonight. 50 historical years. We are all together fighting for communications access to make our dreams a reality. Congratulations, everyone here this evening.
TDI first was established in 1968. Our thanks to Whitebrecht, Marsters, and Sachs for connecting us with the telephone network across the nation. You know that old green monster, that TTY, that provided access to the community and the world across the United States. TDI was founded the oral deaf section of A.G. Bell and the National Association of the Deaf combined forces. A.G. Bell had Lantham Brunig representing A.G. Bell, and Jess Smith was representing National Association of the Deaf. Together they formed access to the telephone network and equal access, just in parity to what hearing people had and deaf people needed. That was established, and that green monster spread across the United States. The telephone companies made those available for deaf people to communicate through the phone across America.
It is so nice to see so many key players in the audience this evening. We have individuals representing the government, industry, TDI members, consumer advocacy groups. It's people like you who have really made a difference, and I'd like to take a moment to thank you all. I'd like to talk a bit about TDI's current mission. The mission is very important, and I'd like you to understand exactly what that is. TDI's mission is to provide leadership in achieving equal access to telecommunications, media, and information technologies for Americans who are deaf and hard of hearing. On behalf of TDI, we truly value its partnerships with each and every person in the room this evening.
Now let's take an opportunity to see a picture of that ugly green monster, the TTY machine. There you go.
Oh my. That really was a long time ago, wasn't it? Remember when we all had those green monsters? I'm wondering how many people here this evening had a green monster. Please raise your hand if you had a TTY like this. Did you have one? Oh. I see about 30 people with their hands raised that they had TTYs like this.
Imagine that green monster compared to what we have today. Video on our cell phones.
It's
wow.
so tiny now. It's absolutely amazing. My God, it's really unbelievable. Well, now we've come to the point of the evening where we'd like to introduce our very important people, our VIPs, and there's a bunch of them waiting in the back of the room. As you can see, we have a gorgeous red carpet down the center of the ballroom this evening. We'll be announcing each of our VIPs, and then that person will walk down the red carpet and give a big wave. So give them lots of TDI love as they're introduced and walk the carpet this evening.
We have 9 honorary chairs of this gala who have partnered as we arrive to this historic moment at our 50th anniversary. TDI is most pleased to introduce these honorary co-chairs. They're listed in your program book as well, and we will simply call their name and recognize them. The first person that we would like to recognize is the Honorary Stephen Brenner. Let's give him a hand. Next, we have Miss Roberta Cordano. Next, we have Rob Inglekey and his wife, Sue. Next, we have Tamar Finn. We also have Cheryl Hepner. Unfortunately, she was unable to be here this evening, but we have her picture on the slide. Let's give her a hand. We have Dr. T. Allen Hurwitz. And next, U.S. Senator Edward Markey. He was unable to be here this evening, but here's a picture of Senator Markey. Next, we have Andrea Sachs. And next, we have Judy Vieira.
I would like to take a moment now to recognize the volunteers who worked way back in the old days. We called them the TDI agents. TDI agents did volunteer work by installing TTYs. They also educated people on how to use those TTYs. They taught them the vocabulary. GA meant go ahead and SK meant stop keying. we remember those days, and no one uses GA or SK anymore. They also provided training to businesses and nonprofit organizations. They went around teaching people how to use these TTYs. And they also encouraged people to become TDI members. So please, let's take a moment to welcome the TDI agents. The first one is Marion Draymond. Welcome, Marion. Next, we have Tom Dowling. Next, we have Gary Vale. Phil Bravin. Jim Marsh. Paul Taylor and his lovely wife, Sally Taylor. Thank you so much for all of your hard work way back when.
A question for the audience. Who was the first president of TDI? Who was the first president of TDI?
Does anyone know?
Who is the current president of TDI? Dr. Latham Brunig was the first president of TDI in 1968, and today, Sheila Conlon Mentkowski is the 14th president of TDI. Welcome, Sheila.
Welcome, Sheila. Please welcome the former TDI board presidents. Their role is to provide leadership and vision and guidance as presidents of the organization. Please welcome Clifford Rowley. He began his presidency in 1977 and continued until 1979. Also, we'd like to welcome Dr. Roy Miller, who started in 1997 and continued through 2013. Thank you. We're honored to have the presidents here with us.
And now we would like to welcome our current 6 board members of the TDI Board of Directors, serving with Sheila, who leads us as the president in our policy, our budget, and our finance, and we've been so inspired to work with Sheila as our president. Myself, John, I'm the Midwest Regional Board Member for TDI. Next, we have Jan Withers, who is the vice president of our board and the Southeast Regional Representative. Next, we have Jarvis Grinstaff, who is the secretary of our board and a member at large for TDI. Jarvis. Next, we have C.M. Borslowski. There's a J on the end of that name.
CM, you have a very long last name.
And that's the Northeast representative. We have Matt Myrick, who is the at-large member on our board of directors. And we have Mark Seeger, who's the Central Region representative, and you hear his voice. That's that male voice. Say hi, Mark.
Yay. We would also like to introduce the former board of directors of TTI who are here this evening. Welcome Rebecca Rosenthal, Stephanie Buell, Joe Duarte, Carol Sliney, Tony Dunn, Greg Gant, Fred Weiner, Andy Lang. Look at Andy Lang here. Look at that jacket. You look like a star, Andy. What a jacket. Wow. That has a lot of gala spirit, Andy. Beautiful jacket tonight. You look awesome. Carrie Hobson, Bernard Hurwitz, and Phil Jacob. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for all your hard work.
Now let's welcome our current Executive Director, Claude Stout. Claude has been our Executive Director for 22 years. That's amazing. And you rock, Claude.
Woo, Claude!
Let's hear it for Claude. Let's give him a round of applause.
And Claude, you really have a huge heart for TDI. Claude is always thinking about TDI's goals and missions and making sure that everyone in the room has equal access to communication. We love you, Claude. I'd now like to recognize the former TDI executive directors here. They are Dr. Brunig, and if we could see his picture, please, Dr. Brunig. Just one moment. Barry Strassler, Thomas Mentkowski, and Alfred Sonnenstrahl. Can you imagine, for the first 5 years of TDI, there was no executive director. Welcome, Sonny. Welcome. You rock. You rock, Sonny. We love you.
It is an honor to welcome the current TDI staff and pro bono legal team. Eric Kaika, Director of Public Relations and UCaption Project Manager. Eric? John Shevland, Business Manager. Come on up that red, beautiful carpet. Next, we have Terry Berrigan, Business Manager. We have attorneys from Morgan, Lewis, and Brocchius. Angela Campbell, Institute for Public Representation, Georgetown University. Blake Reed and Corian Zacher, Samuelson Glushko, Technology, Law, and Policy Clinic, University of Colorado Boulder. We're pleased to have former TDI staff and attorneys join us. Elliot Greenwald. Could you please stand at your seat, Elliot? Ken Glickman. Scott Recht. Lisa Hamlin. Jim House. Neil McDevitt. Lisa Bothwell. And Taylor Mayer.
Again, thank you all so much for all of the hard work you've done over the last 50 years for TDI. All these people who walked the red carpet tonight deserve a great big round of applause and thanks.
TDI is pleased to have a special guest whose organization has worked in partnership with us over the years. Those of you who may have recognized them, please stand up on the floor at your seats. We will call your names and you can stand up.
I do want to recognize tonight former Gallaudet and NTID presidents and the current presidents as well. First, I would love to welcome Dr. I. King Jordan. Dr. Robert Davila. He was the former NTID president and Gallaudet president. Dr. Alan Hurwitz, also a former NTID and Gallaudet president. Alan, are you here? Where are you? I know he's here somewhere this evening. There he is, sitting here off to my side. And last, but certainly not least, the current Gallaudet president, I would like to welcome Roberta Cordano.
I'd also like to recognize Bernard Hurwitz. Bernard?
Denise Caven. I think he's out there.
Also Denise Caven.
I think they're all hungry. Everybody's eating, John. We need to move this along. I also want to take a moment to introduce Howard Rosenblum, the Chief Executive Officer of the National Association of the Deaf, NAD. Howard? He never stops. He is always on the road. So thank you so much for all you do for NAD.
Next, we have Barbara Kelly, the Executive Director of the Hearing Loss Association of America.
Also here with us is Bill Graham, and I would like to welcome him. He is the founder of the Association of Late Deafened Adults. Bill, where are you this evening? I know you're out here somewhere. Thank you.
Zainab Al-Kebzi. He is the new chair of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Consumer Advocacy Network. Zainab?
There she is, right over there. And our last introduction this evening is Lisa Hamlin. She is one of the two co-chairs of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Alliance. She also does policy work for HLAA. Lisa Hamlin, where are you this evening? There you are. Thank you so much. All right, now I know everyone is very hungry.
I'm sure you're very hungry.
Yes, and again, thank you so much to everyone who walked the red carpet for us this evening and for those who stood to be recognized. But remember, everyone here tonight is part of the success of TDI. So what time do we have now? 7:15-ish? All right, John said we will start our dinner at we'll start at 7:50, so you have from now till then to enjoy your dinner.
Enjoy your food. Please begin.
You know that TDI was founded on June 10th, 1968. And June 10th, 1968 was my graduation day from high school. So now you know how old I am. But at any rate, I'm very excited to be here with you tonight to help celebrate. And I hope that you will enjoy the rest of the evening with new and old friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sheila. Thank you. Thank you again, Sheila. She has done so many amazing things for TDI, and Sheila, we really appreciate all the valuable time that you've given the organization to make sure that we all have the best communication access possible. Now, a lot of people are watching us this evening on a live streaming feed, so we thought it would be nice if we could all give them a big shout out and wave. So we'll get a phone here, and what we're going to do is ask everyone to wave when we move the phone. So we'll start on one side of the room and then do a panorama all the way to the other side. Make sure you wave at people watching online, and then we're going to do the panorama again. The second time, don't wave, just look at them and give them a big smile. Okay, Cheryl, where are you? All right, here we go. Here's our camera. Oh, let's get our technology figured out over here. We will start on this side of the room. John, start over here, and everybody make sure you wave when the camera hits you.
Wave.
Here we go. Wave to them.
Wave, guys. Come on.
Wave to everybody at home.
Wave.
All right, keep moving your camera. Over here, people over here. Hey, at home. We see you out there. All right, let's do it again, and this time don't wave, just smile.
Hands down.
Hands down, everybody. Just give them a big smile to everybody watching on the live feed. Hey, everybody. Hi there. Love you all. Thank you. Thank you. People on Facebook, I'm sure, really appreciate that big TDI love that we sent them.
Angie, I just want to share with the audience all the pictures that you're taking here this evening during the gala. Please use these hashtags so that people can understand and see what's going on here this evening. Thank TDI for our 50th anniversary.
And the hotel representatives let us know that someone has lost their wallet and their cell phone. So if you see that, please go right out these doors, and there's someone there who has the lost cell phone and wallet. Okay, someone's already waving that. I see you.
Katie.
Okay, Katie.
Katie.
All right, Katie, so just go right out there. And thank you so much, whoever found that wallet and cell phone, for returning it. Right outside that door, I think it's this woman right by the door. If you give them a big wave, you can pick up your items there.
Okay. I would now like to introduce Claude Stout. He's the 5th and current executive director with TDI with 22 years.
Oh, wow.
Welcome, Claude Stout. Claude, please take the stage.
And also, I do want to take time to thank Claude's wonderful wife, Judy, for all of her support of Claude.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Judy. He couldn't have been as successful without you, so thank you.
Thank you. Whew, glad I didn't fall after that one. You know, my height has been a handicap all these years, and it's nice to no longer have that handicap here tonight, thanks to this wonderful podium. So it's nice to see so many faces here in the room. It is so remarkable to look out and to wonder, you know, and even to celebrate the 50th anniversary here. And I was asking John and Angie to take that video for all of us here tonight because we have accomplished something. When we think back to President Kennedy's time, they only had photographs to remember historical moments. So one of those historical moments from President Kennedy's time actually applies to us being here tonight. So President Kennedy and his wife, Jacqueline Kennedy, had invited some guests to the White House. There were 127 people in attendance, and they were there to honor the Nobel Laureate Prize winners. There were 49 prize winners who were gathered there with their spouses. And again, there were 127 guests in total, including his Harvard people, his wonderful cabinet members, all gathered there that evening. And so they were gathered around the dinner table, enjoying their meal. And then after the meal was over, they went into the East Room for the program. And President Kennedy stood up in front of the group, in front of this wonderful, esteemed group of Nobel Prize laureate winners. And you have people who were in that room, like Pearl S. Buck, who wrote A Good Earth. You have Robert Frost, who wrote one of America's most beloved poems, The Road Not Taken. And there were several other people in attendance. Mary Hemingway, the wife of Ernest Hemingway, who wrote the book, The Old Man and the Sea, served as his company that night. And as they were engaged in conversation, Kathleen Marshall, the wife of General Marshall, who was Secretary of State, surveyed the crowd, and I will quote one line that he had shared that evening. He said, "I think that this is the most extraordinary collection of talent, of human knowledge that has ever been gathered together at the White House, with the possible exception of when Thomas Jefferson dined alone." So I hope that the Kennedy family will forgive me for paraphrasing what he had said and applying it to this evening. I think it's only appropriate that tonight I also say that line, and instead apply it to TDI. And so TDI is deeply honored tonight to ever have here such an incredible, unique gathering of individuals. Those who have shared with us their talents, consumer advocacy, the industry support that we have received, technical knowledge, and/or legal expertise toward a better future for an accessible world. With the possible exception of when Dr. Robert Whitebrecht worked on his TTY technology patent alone. You all agree with me? So I salute you now for taking the road less traveled, or even the road never taken. That we didn't play it safe and take the road easily traveled. We challenged ourselves, and we fought through the brambles and made our way through. And I thank all of you for taking that road less traveled. Thank you for challenging the notion of the status quo and not accepting the status quo. Thank you for your resilience. Thank you for your resolve. And thank you for being able to fight back. With that resilience, we never gave up and we always marched forward. And in the end, because of your courage, because of your creativity, and because of your optimism, today the world has become a much better place for us all. Again, thank you. Thank you to you all.
Thank you so much for everything you've done. You rock, Claude. Thank you. Thank you, Claude. That was a beautiful, inspiring speech. And again, thank you for everything you've done over the years for TDI. You rock. We have a very nice surprise for you. This is the FCC Chairman Ajit Pai, who wanted to give a nice personal video to be shown tonight.
Thanks to your efforts, there is now greater recognition of the importance of incorporating access in the design of products and services. Obviously, TDI has been hard at work for decades, but I would like to offer a personal thanks for your counsel during my time as chairman. TDI, and especially your fearless leader, Claude Stout, has participated enthusiastically on 3 separate advisory committees, most recently the FCC's Disability Advisory Committee. Through this engagement, your prior work under Director Al Sonnenstrahl and his advocacy, you've helped drive our work on many topics, including ways to measure the quality of VRS and other relay services, how to support real-time text in emergency communication systems, and how to make real-time text accessible to deafblind individuals. For all that you've accomplished over the past 2 years and the 48 years before, the best is yet to come. This is a time of unsurpassed opportunity for Americans who are deaf and hard of hearing. I look forward to continuing to work with you to harness the power of communications technology to improve the lives of the 48 million Americans living with a hearing disability. Congratulations again, and happy anniversary.
That was so nice of him to make that video all the way from the FCC. Obviously, he has a super busy schedule, and he took time to recognize all of TDI's efforts. So thank you again, Chairman Pai.
Next, I would like to talk about our guest speaker. His name is Alex Abenchuchan. I'll elaborate further on some of his daily moth telecasts. He invented a new video which covers current events, deaf news, deaf culture, and his show has more than 150,000 followers, postings on Facebook, through YouTube, and vlogs, and he's a member of a very large deaf family. Welcome, Alex Abenchuchan. Alex?
Welcome, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Love seeing that pound in it. All right. Hello, everyone, and good evening. Hopefully you've enjoyed your dinner and your drinks and the company this evening. And the who's who of the deaf world, right? Have everybody in the crowd tonight. The 50th anniversary of TDI. What a momentous occasion. I want to say thank you to the TDI team for granting me the honor of coming and talking to you tonight. Thank you so much. I'm deeply grateful. So my topic for the evening is media in the deaf community. Which is something I'm deeply passionate about. And that goes back to my high school years. I studied current events to prepare myself for Gallaudet's academic bowls, different challenges and tournaments throughout the US. Current events was something that I had to know to be able to answer before the other teams, and I was a voracious reader of the news in high school. And I don't know if I have any news junkies in the room. Am I the only one? Am I the only one? Who else? Please tell me I'm not the only one. All right. I mean, we're in Washington, D.C. Everybody's addicted to that news cycle here. The media is often a reflection of what society holds dear. And society can really use the media as a mirror to look back at itself to know the goings-on and the type of importance we're putting on certain issues. As we know, deaf people don't often arise in media coverage. Does that mean that we are not of import to the rest of society? Well, maybe that was until we had a signing Starbucks in Washington, D.C., right? Because everybody's seen that. Everybody's seen that, and everybody's been making their way there. I can't wait to go, hoping to get a chance to do that next week. The media is a powerful tool. The oldest individual to ever be elected President of the United States did so by harnessing the power of the media. When a deaf person or a deaf-related story comes up in the media, we often see an intersection of the hearing world and the deaf world, and where they collide or where they might cross paths. Quite often, we think that we're moving in a vacuum, whereas the media might present an opportunity for the deaf community to really push our causes and our important issues to the forefront of the media's coverage. And that's something I want to highlight tonight. So now we'll start with a few, call them head-scratching headlines, and we'll see how long we still have to go here. So we'll skip that first one. And on the left, you'll see the Morning Calls publication about a football player. Actually, I'm going to let the camera move to show my PowerPoint so our live stream gets that. So the headline reads, Parkland football player is deaf, but it hasn't stopped him. So what assumptions can be made about how a deaf person might be portrayed in this article? It's as if being deaf might stop him or impede him from exceeding in sport. Whereas on the right-hand side, the talents are highlighted. America's only football team decides to do during the national anthem. So you can see the two different perspectives of these headlines here. Move on to another example. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the Des Moines Register. that says, a deaf golfer is just another kid with the whole world in front of him. Just like the hearing world, we have the entire world out in front of us. But if you read on, it says that RJ, the young boy, has had lifelong struggles because of his deafness, and that it hasn't stopped him from pursuing his athletic dreams. So again, this may be a reflection of how hearing society views deaf individuals. And on the right-hand side, we have two individuals at the top of their game, Kevin Hall and Alan John, one of them who was a star at Ohio State, both playing on the PGA Tour. And another individual, like I said, Alan Hall, who is German, and he played in the European Open as an amateur and almost won. He came in second. He almost won thousands of dollars, but couldn't because he was an amateur. So as you can see, two different connotations are used and highlighted in these articles. And then our final example comes from across the pond. On the left-hand side is the Irish Examiner's article that says that a deaf woman does not let being deaf stop her from pursuing her love of music. Again, this assumes that deaf individuals don't enjoy music. I mean, come on, Nico's in the house, right? Nico is here, guys. He's in the back corner. Proof that deaf people do love music. And in contrast, on the right-hand side, you see Matt Maxey, who is the deaf signer, deaf interpreter, who has been traveling with Chance the Rapper on tour and signing his songs. Again, further proof that deaf people do enjoy music. And finally, we have Mandy Harvey, who impressed the judges and audience when she sang on America's Got Talent. So this really illustrates the importance of perception and how the media uses it. The next one we all might enjoy. So the moth is always on the look for deaf individuals who are coming up in the news. And so I might Google deaf individuals in the news, and deaf dogs come up almost as often as deaf people do. I'm starting to feel like we're competing for attention with deaf dogs. But again, this is a matter of perception and how our causes may be viewed by society at large. Is this the fault of journalists? Or is it, again, that perception of the wider society and the way that we're viewed? It's up to us to determine how we push our causes forward, how we are represented in the news, and how the media takes us seriously. And that can push our narrative along immensely. So I do want to talk a bit about the rising stars in the deaf community and talk a bit about how media was able to really catapult them into mainstream society. So, as we know, Niall DeMarco is one of the greatest media stories in recent years. He was the winner of not one, but 2 television reality shows. And he used that platform, whether it's Twitter or Instagram, to further advocate for the rights of deaf individuals. It got him all the way to the UN recently. Again, this is an opportunity for the deaf world to intersect with the hearing world. Not only was he a reality TV star, but he is advocating for access to sign language for young children, showing that deaf people can do wonderful things for society. So of course we need to applaud him for his continued work in that arena. And then next we have CJ Jones, who appeared in Baby Driver and will also be appearing in the second Avatar, which has a chance of being a higher earner than the first Avatar film. To have a deaf character in that, just think about what type of power and resounding effect that could have for us. CJ Jones has remarked that it took him decades to achieve the dreams that he has. What kind of message is that sending to Hollywood? And of course, we would be remiss not to mention Marlee Matlin, who has continued to shine since winning her Oscar and using the platform that she has to further advocate for deaf individuals and their rights. Like I said, using the power of the media and shining a positive light on us. Millicent Simmons, at a young age, has already appeared in not one, but two major Hollywood films, including Wonderstruck and A Quiet Place, and they've already announced that she'll be in the sequel of A Quiet Place as well. She is just getting started. It's a big step forward for us in the media. And of course, we cannot forget Lauren Ridloff and her recent cameo on The Walking Dead after her success on Broadway. Also, Shoshana Stern and Josh Feldman for their recent TV series This Close. We also had Spring Awakening, produced by Deaf West. The Silent Child recently won an Oscar for the Best Short Film. And this list is not exhaustive. We have more opportunities and more places where we can shine. This is unprecedented representation on the world's biggest stages. We're using this intersection to inspire, to remind, to raise awareness through the media. This is a place that we can say deaf can and deaf should. Okay, so we talked a bit about the stars, but let's get to the everyday deaf people who are doing what they can to sparkle in media coverage. I'm sure all of these are familiar to all of us, yes? At the top, of course, we cannot forget the fake interpreter fiasco in South Africa that happened in 2013. We all remember this clearly. The Daily Moth was not around at that time, so unfortunately we weren't able to cover it. But again, this was at the memorial service for Nelson Mandela. President Obama was on the stage speaking to a crowd with an interpreter signing gibberish behind him. Was not using South African Sign Language, was making up things on the fly, and no one noticed until deaf South Africans started tweeting saying that get him off the stage, essentially booing him off the stage until everyone realized that he was an imposter. There are a number of organizations that we're seeing now that have recognized the need for a qualified and certified interpreter to be in this situation. So unfortunately, this terrible situation had to happen for the deaf individuals to be taken more seriously in South Africa. And then next up, we have a few more fake interpreter incidents. The first happened during Hurricane Irma. There was an emergency press conference, and the quote-unquote interpreter who got on stage had a deaf brother, but was not fluent in sign, was not skilled as an interpreter. And then afterward, as a result, the county announced that they had a contract with a bona fide interpreting agency to improve the services that were given to their constituents. So through deaf organizations, the deaf community, and the outreach that has been made, we have some more recognition. Other counties and entities are realizing they don't want that to happen to them, and they're falling in stride. The final example of an unqualified interpreter was used to announce the arrest of a serial killer. This woman turned out to be a complete fraud. She has seemingly no connection to the deaf community and had a fraud conviction on her record. The Tampa Bay police later apologized, and they vowed to use qualified and certified interpreters going forward. It was later announced that that contract was in place. So these 3 incidents, as I said, unfortunately did have to take place for the positive spin to come as a result of it. We are leveraging that power. We're making sure that society listens to us to avoid incidents like this from happening again in the future. Moving on to a few more unfortunate examples. And they involved police fatalities in the shooting of deaf men. One of them was Daniel Harris in North Carolina, and the other was Magdalene Sanchez in Oklahoma. Both incidents brought deaf communities together to raise their concerns to a state level, to a national level. NAD was involved. There were a number of organizations that took a stand against police actions and advocated for those deaf men and the rights of deaf people to access to communication and interactions with the police. So the police have, as a result, have sensitivity trainings in various places across the country, and while they are far from perfect or an ideal solution, it shows that steps are being made. Were it not for the media spotlight, those steps might not have taken place. And I do want to give a more positive spin here, because we can't forget what was probably one of the biggest intersections of the deaf and hard of hearing world in the media, and that was the DPN movement in 1988. Oh, we jumped forward just a bit. So hold on to that thought about DPN. We had one story about a woman in Florida who was discriminated against by Instacart, which is a food delivery service, and they told her that she could not work there because she was deaf. So she made a video on Facebook Live, filming herself experiencing this discrimination, this act of discrimination. A man is gesturing that she cannot work here because she can't hear. And then on the right-hand side, the guy in the beard is basically gesturing, saying, "How can you drive?" And she's showing all of this live on the internet. And the moth followed this when it was happening. The CEO of Instacart contacted this woman, apologized, and asked her to come meet with them in San Francisco to go over everything that had taken place. And she was able to teach them how to approach deaf individuals. And she has reported that she is currently employed with Instacart and happy with the company as a result of that. Again, harnessing the power of the media. Her name is Christina Guten, and luckily she, had the ingenious thought of filming it, and as a result has a job still. Okay, back to DPN. 30 years ago, can you believe it? So this Twitter post perfectly encapsulates my point here. This is the week that the world heard Gallaudet. And I was 2 years old at the time. I was on campus at Kendall all those years ago with some other friends that I see out in the audience. So we know that DPN was pivotal in our history. man, how I wish that the moth was around at that time. I surely would have flown to DC to cover it. I since have read books. I've seen all different types of panels hosted at Gallaudet, sharing the history of DPN. And the media played a pivotal role in this. It brought deaf people to the forefront of society's minds. The media was able to bring the message of the deaf community all the way to the White House. President George H.W. Bush, at the time, wrote a letter in support of the students and their desire to change the process at Gallaudet University, resulting in King Jordan becoming president, who's here in the audience with us tonight. Again, the power of the media. It shows through and through. And of course, it didn't end with DPN. That led to the passing of the ADA. All it took was the momentum from DPN led to the ADA and a number of other laws that resulted in better access for us and individuals with disabilities. The media was a benefit to the Gallaudet community at that time. It was like striking a match and pushed us forward with what we needed. And our next big intersection, of course, is the signing Starbucks. Is Adam's here with us, right? The manager of the signing Starbucks? Get a round of applause for Alex. You've seen his face all over the different media publications in the past couple days. So this is a perfect indication of just how small the deaf community is. You can read about him in the newspaper and then see him later on at the TDI Gala. Every major news publication has covered the signing Starbucks. I'm hiring deaf people. I'm giving opportunities to deaf individuals. If Starbucks is doing it, should I do it as a business owner? We're seeing the planting of the seeds. And we're maximizing the potential. This is from Wikipedia. This is essentially a depiction of the internet. To me, it looks like the brain, like the neurons, the pathways in the brain. It's the ways in which we are all connected. Social media is a game changer for the deaf community. I would not be here standing in front of you were it not for the internet. I read the newspaper every day and I wondered, where is this information being shared in an accessible manner in ASL? We had DPAN, we had other deaf news organizations in the past, but I wanted something that happened in a daily format like these other news outlets that we have. So I thought, why not do it myself? And I was pretty small potatoes in the beginning, in 2015, and with continued success because of the feedback from you all, the Daily Moth has been able to improve and make great strides in sharing this type of information with the deaf community. But again, I would not be here were it not for the internet. We have a number of other great deaf channels such as Seek the World, DPAN TV, Deafies in Drag, and also Melmyra. These videos and interviews are strong enough to compete against the information that we're getting from mass media. Also can't forget Ricky Pointer's vlogs. We're creating our own content and we're allowing ourselves to compete with Fox News, with CNN for your attention, because deaf can carve out our own space in this arena. As we know, it's a powerful tool. So what can we improve upon and what do we want? As a community, we know that we have a long way to go. Or is it that the world has a lot of work to do to meet us? And we can't rest on our laurels. We have to step up. We have to use the media to push our issues forward, to get the better access that we need, to improve the laws that provide these type of access for us. And we have to use the media to our advantage. And of course, we can collaborate on a top level, an organization level. We have various identities and organizations within our community, a number of special interest groups, if you will. But we have to make sure that we're better connecting with one another. And we can do what we can to spotlight the work that's happening in our community. I talked with Claude this morning, and he shared one of the biggest strides that we have made as a community. One instance that he shared was about captioning. A coalition of deaf-run organizations signed a petition, shared it with government entities, and made headway. The government didn't have to do the work to reach out to the organizations for their input. We put our foot forward together as a united front, and were able to make progress in the arena that we wanted to and make sure that captions were available and accessible for us. And when you do that, powerful things happen. I'd like to see more content from our community. The Daily Moth posts 6 to 7 videos every day, Monday through Friday. So once a week, I would like to see a report from your CEOs, from your presidents. Let us know what's happening in your offices. Use those vlogs. Use technology to your best advantage. A number of people ask what might be the best way to reach the community. Post often, post on different outlets, those different platforms, and use those vlogs to the best of your advantage. And we can make sure that our content that we create goes viral. And I want to commend NAD for the work that they've done to ensure that our videos do go viral. And once the Moth sees it, we're going to pick up on it and we're going to share it even further to make sure the information is disseminated. So maybe I'll challenge all of you now to do a weekly, well, a monthly at least, a monthly vlog. And if you get 30 views, it will have been worth it. I can promise you that. I do want to recognize a few of the giants in our community. You see this nice classic painting. And unfortunately, I am not sure of the artist, but I do like what it represents, that we are standing on the shoulders of giants here. As Isaac Newton said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." I mean, he said that quite some time ago, and it still applies today. We view TDI as a giant in our community. TDI has done the big work to make sure that the little guys get forward in society. And so I do want to commend TDI for the work that they've done for allowing me to become a giant myself, because I was propelled by the work that they've done. And I owe a lot to TDI and all of the partners here tonight who have helped to ensure that I'm here with you, and I want to do what I can to keep the momentum going. I do want to say again, thank you to TDI for everything you've done for the deaf community throughout the years. In closing, I do want to just review a few points that I've made this evening. As I said, the media is a reflection of society, and we don't have as many positive examples of deaf individuals being spotlighted in the media as we might want. We have Niall, though. We have CJ, though. We have a number of intersections of the hearing and deaf worlds that have allowed us to propel our voices and our rights forward. If we see a deaf individual in the news, again, it's an opportunity for us to push our agenda, to push our causes forth. And as I said, the media is a game changer for us. We want to do what we can to ensure access to communication and carving out our own space by using the internet and all its power. And of course, we cannot forget the giants in our community and the work that they've done to continue to carry us forward in the future, and we can get better and better every day. Thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been great spending it with you.
Alex, thank you. This guy has inspired me. I look at him sign, and my goodness, his finger spelling is so clear. I grew up using English signs, and I learned ASL when I was about 18 years old, and I would struggle with ASL. And he's younger than me, obviously. But really, in watching his signing, it was so clear, both on TV and this evening. I commend you, Alex. I would love to be just like you and follow in your footsteps. Thank you for such a great job. We're proud of you. We all here are proud of you, Alex.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Keep up
much.
the good work, Alex.
Will do.
And
certainly.
Alex.
Thank you.
Alex, believe it or not, I used to watch CNN and Fox News, and I've turned all of those off now. My daily news source is the Daily Moth. I watch you
Nice.
every day, Alex. You do a great
Nice.
job. Keep that up.
What an honor. Thank you.
Keep it up.
Thank you. That was a beautiful keynote. It was so inspirational. Thank you, Alex. Next to the stage, I would like to welcome Jan Withers. Jan is the board vice president with TDI, and she is the director of the Division of Services for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing with the state of North Carolina. Jan, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. So it's been 50 years in the making, and of course we have a list of accomplishments. We could not celebrate tonight without showing you a couple of video clips, so I am thrilled to show you the videos. We're not going to watch the entire video because, of course, it would be too long. But Shaping an Accessible World is the first video that you're going to see a bit from. Please roll the tape.
From its modest beginning in 1968 in the Midwest through 50 years to 2018 in the Metro Washington, D.C. area, Telecommunications for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, Inc., TDI, has become a powerhouse for an accessible world as a leading national advocacy organization of, for, and by the deaf and hard of hearing. Its work touched the lives of people who are deaf-blind, Deaf Plus, late deafened, speech disabled, and others with the goal of effective communications and information sharing through technology. A key event that led to the establishment of TDI was during the mid-1960s when Dr. Robert H. Whitebreck, Dr. James L. Marsters, and Andrew Sachs of APCOM showcased their new acoustic coupler, which became the connection between a hulking teletype machine and the standard telephone. The oral deaf section of the Alexander Graham Bell Association, A.G. Bell, and the National Association of the Deaf, NAD, had limited resources and manpower to handle the acquisition and distribution of TTYs. The two organizations agreed to join forces and create an independent organization, the Teletypewriters for the Deaf Distribution Committee, TDDC, in March 1968. In 1969, I. Lee Brody established the New York, New Jersey phone TTY Inc. to meet the demands from TTY owners who lived on the East Coast. Ever the tinkerer, Lee had jerry-rigged flashing light signal systems and placed them in deaf people's homes so they would know if someone is at the front door or calling them on the TTY. As TTYs were distributed, we had a crew of special volunteers called TDI agents who spent many hours installing them, training individuals and businesses how to use them, and building TDI memberships. The first international TDI convention took place in 1974 in Chicago, where consumer advocates, industry professionals, and government officials gathered. You can see how the program book has changed over the years. During the 1974 convention, the TDI board recognized the need to set up a full-time administrative position, and Mr. Brunig relinquished his duties as the first president to be the association's first executive director. Albert Pimentel was elected as TDI's second board president. Here's the list of 14 distinguished individuals who have honored TDI in its 50 years with their leadership, vision, and guidance as the association's presiding officer. Here's the list of 78 past and current individuals who have honored TDI with their service on the board throughout its first 50 years. In 1978, Dr. Brunig retired after 5 years as the first TDI executive director, and the TDI board took action to relocate from its Indianapolis, Indiana office to a new office in Silver Spring, Maryland. A year later, in 1979, the board approved the name change to Telecommunications for the Deaf, Inc. As another important piece of action, it selected Barry Strassler to replace Brunig as TDI's second executive director. In 1987, Mentkowski resigned as TDI executive director, and the TDI board selected Alfred Sonnenstrahl to replace Mentkowski as the fourth TDI executive director. These individuals were the backbone of TDI's office operations and advocacy activities over the years. In 1996, Alfred Sonnenstrahl retired as executive director after 10 years at TDI. In 1997, TDI announced its hiring of Claude L. Stout to replace Sonnenstrahl as its fifth executive director. TDI would not be the powerful force of change if it were not for the attorneys who devoted their passion for access to technology. In 1979, Steve Brenner introduced his friend and fellow TTY agent Robert Whitebrecht to Robert Engelke, a young engineer from Madison, Wisconsin, who had an interest in assistive technology. From an inspiring example of this special, unique partnership, TDI strives to collaborate with the industry to improve their products and make them more accessible and usable by a greater number of people. When you include accessibility features, everyone wins. President Barack Obama signed the Communications and Video Accessibility Act into law on October 8, 2010. The CVAA requires television programming shown on the internet to carry captions and makes it easier for people to access the captioning controls on television remotes. organization of this size, the power of TDI's achievements reach far and wide. The visionary foresight of Robert H. Whitebrecht has touched all of us over the years. Together, we acknowledge and applaud TDI's leadership and major legislative and regulatory achievements in the past half-century that have brought lasting change in the pursuit of inclusive and universal design and communication access. TDI's role has inspired hundreds and thousands of individuals and groups to join in the spirit of shaping an accessible world. The video project is based on some historical information that may be at best an imperfect exercise. We apologize for any errors that we may have made in the process.
It's something, isn't it? It really makes you think about all of the labor that has gone into the work that TDI has done and really the amazing accomplishments that we've had. I hope that you enjoyed watching just that short promo. During the gala later tonight, we'll show the full 30-minute video and it will run on a loop. And it will eventually be posted to the website and be made available for your viewing pleasure. I would like to take a moment to thank Bad Cats Entertainment and Blake Nitko for the production of this video. Thank you.
Wow. What's going to happen in the next 50 years? Holograms? Many things are possible.
Could be.
Moving on, next I would like to introduce Matt Myrick. Matt, there you are, Matt. Come to the stage.
Come on up, Matt.
He is a member at large with the TDI Board of Directors. He's also with AT&T, and he is the lead accessibility engineer. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, everyone. Really warm welcome, and I hope that you're enjoying your evening thus far. I have the honor and privilege this evening of introducing one of our esteemed guests who has been around in this industry for quite some time. And I don't want to steal his thunder, but I do want to introduce you to Al Sonnenstrahl, or better known as Sonny. So, welcome, Al.
Thank you, Matt. So I was asked to present to a Deaf Studies course, and in this course they were talking about technology and communications, and they wanted me to have further conversation with the students of that class. So I wrote as a pop quiz one of the questions up on the board and said, who knows Robert Whitebrecht? And none of the students in the class knew who Robert Whitebrecht was. In a Deaf Studies class, that puzzled me. So then I decided to write the name Alexander Graham Bell, and everyone raised their hand and indicated that they knew who A.G. Bell was. And I found it odd that this was a Deaf Studies course that knew a hearing person who entered the phone for hearing individuals, but did not know the deaf person who had invented the phone for deaf people. And again, that scared me when I saw that that was the case in this course. It made me think about what's going to happen in the future as I get older, knowing that I've lived through history and seen what I've seen, and I see the younger generation now not even knowing what's happened in our past and what has happened in our history. And that's what led me to realize that we really need to preserve the history of TTYs and how that came to be. So thanks to the financial sponsorship from Altertech and Sprint, they had sponsored this project and agreed to sponsor the finances that were necessary to create this video that's called Lifeline for Deaf People. And the reason why it's called Lifeline is because it is really what Alex was all talking about. And he gave a wonderful speech about the media and what really started all of this. With captions and all the technology that we've seen, it's really the TTY that started the whole thing. So with that, I do want to thank Ultratech again, and to thank you to Sprint for making this possible. And I also especially want to thank Steve Brenner who helped me tremendously. Steve, I know that you're here in the room, not paying attention. So Steve was the one who truly helped me. And we spent over 40 hours compiling this video. We did various interviews of people who had actually lived through the experience of using TTYs, CODAs, deaf people, TTY consumers. So you'll see all of that within the video, as well as engineers talking about their experience. This video is a 30-minute long production. It wasn't easy to create all of these clips and to produce and edit the video, so Steve helped me with that. And we also had Jackie Morton, who is from Ultratech, who is taking pictures, and we wanted to thank her for her wonderful support. And we will be seeing a 5-minute trailer, or more, I should probably call it a teaser, of what the video is all about. So with that, here it is.
Alexander Graham Bell himself was a teacher of the deaf. He wanted to develop something to help deaf people hear. So he got involved in sound research to develop a hearing aid. But he made a big mistake. He invented the telephone instead. My mother and father told me to go upstairs to one apartment to make calls. The next time I would go upstairs to another apartment to make calls. There was no privacy. I had a health problem, groin problem. No TTY. I went next door where an older woman was. I asked, "Would you mind calling to make an appointment with my doctor?" "Oh, sure, I'd be happy to tell them I had a health issue and would like to make an appointment. The nurse said, "I must know what the health issue is, or I will not make the appointment." I felt awkward, especially because of the older woman. I was forced to say, "I have a groin issue."
We had a cup of dimes for me to make calls for my mother and father. We lived in row houses. Every time my mother or father needed to make calls to stores or to order cabs, I entered the kitchen to take a dime out of the cup, went next door and asked a neighbor if I could use the phone. If yes, I gave a dime.
Paul Taylor, Robert Whitebrick, and volunteers produced a homemade manual, the Red Book, to train volunteers how to recondition TTY models. TDI noticed there were many deaf people with TTYs all over the U.S. They had their own TTY numbers. They couldn't print TTY numbers in the regular hearing white pages. So TDI published its TTY directory. We called it the Blue Book, with listings of TTY numbers all over the U.S. so they could call each other.
Thank you. So again, this is the 5-minute teaser. Please do be sure to watch the 30-minute video. And I believe that also will be on a loop after the program is over tonight. And it will also be posted on the TDI website as well as others. So it will be in public domain this evening. And we're hoping that it will become part of the Deaf Studies programs where they talk to the students about this. So thank you all for making this possible. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. It's truly inspiring. I preferred that I be involved with TDI so I can see the evolution of technology, and I'm so happy that I could be here to see this evolution of technology. I love it. So the silent auction, just so that you know, it's going to close. If you've won, you will get an email notifying you that you have won. Angie?
Thank you, John. I would like to welcome Jarvis Grinstaff and CM Borislawski to the stage. Jarvis, there you are. Let me tell you a little bit about Jarvis. He is the secretary and member at large with the TDI Board of Directors. He's also a full-time graduate student pursuing a Master's of Public Administration at Gallaudet University. CM is treasurer and the Northeast Region representative with the TDI Board of Directors. She is also a consultant to entrepreneurs and a consultant in internet technology. So welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for that
Of
kind
course.
introduction.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I hope you have enjoyed the evening thus far.
You having a great
Let me
time?
see a show of hands there. All right. So we are here to spread the word. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, we launched a campaign entitled #ThanksTDI50. So throughout the night, you will see some information shared, and everyone is welcome to join in on the campaign. Please share your past experiences, your memories, and your well wishes for TDI during this momentous milestone. Okay.
What's really neat about a campaign such as this is that hashtags can be used to call out a variety of causes. So as you get involved, you can put that hashtag on your social media posts. And the organization can see your posts and incorporate them into their own social media campaign. So just by adding a hashtag, you can call attention to the causes and organizations you care about. So let's see some of the tweets.
Some of the wishes in the sentence. Tweeting it. The community input from the campaign. And also, they didn't say anything that they want us to say. So you can't trust it.
Yeah, but
And that is just a bit of what is out there. So young people today have full access. They don't even know what it is to fight for that. But the key role to contribute to that access was really proffered by TDI. And everybody can get involved in the campaign. Even though the gala ends tonight, the hashtag Thanks TDI 50 does not end. So you can go ahead and use Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and share your stories and your gratitude for the work that TDI has done in making our lives more accessible and informing the young people about what the giants have done before them.
Please continue to join in on the fun and the campaign. Thank you.
I would now like to ask Mark Seeger to come to the stage, and I will elaborate a little bit about Mark. He is the Central Region representative with the TDI Board of Directors. He's recently retired since 2015, previously the Consumer Relations Manager with Caption Telephone Service with Sprint Accessibility. Mark, please come to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to talk about a new youth initiative. We need a new Robert Whitebrecht. We need a new Rob Engelke. But how do we get to that point? We're doing that with college scholarships given to students for innovation. These are for high school students, for deaf youth that go to deaf residential schools, or private schools, or mainstream programs. It's a scholarship competition for these students to win scholarships given by TDI. They can win those, and TDI has gotten contributions from some wonderful companies, Ultratech. Thank you very much for your support of this youth initiative. Also, Sorensen Communications has given money for this program, and Hamilton Communications is also a sponsor. So those are the 3 companies who are participating so far, and we're hoping that other companies will join in on this initiative. It's important that we continue this innovation in communication accessibilities for the next 50 years and have another amazing person on board such as Claude.
She's saying thank you. She's saying thank you, Susan.
Okay, they're not doing this.
I would now like to introduce Jan Withers and have her come to the stage. Jan, if you could come and speak a bit about what's next on TDI's plate.
Hello again. As you watch those video clips, I'm sure you were struck by the many accomplishments that TDI has achieved in the last 50 years. But that does not mean that we can rest on our laurels. Hell no. That would be dangerous. Sometimes accomplishments do cause us to feel complacent, but there is so much more work to do. As new technologies emerge, and they're doing so faster than ever, they're also becoming more complicated. If we are not paying attention, we will be left out. So I just want to share with you a couple of the things that we're working on now. So let's talk about self-driving vehicles. They have videos, they would need to have textual or graphic access for us to use them. We need high-quality service metrics for VRS and IPCTS. And of course, there's the phase-out of the current exemptions for TV captioning. Achieving the lowest error rate possible with high-quality ASR, automatic speech recognition captioning. Obviously, we want to improve emergency response services by establishing NG, or Next Generation 911. And developing a way for all of us to receive emergency alerts on par with our hearing colleagues and peers. And those are some of the things that are on TDI's plate that are teed up for the future, which means, of course, that we still need TDI. And TDI needs you. If you would like to support TDI, I have a challenge for you. I want every individual in the room, tomorrow morning when you wake up, I want you to identify 3 people that you can recruit and convince each one of them to become a member of TDI. Thank you very much, and good night.
It is really amazing. TDI has done so much over these last 50 years, but we're definitely not done yet. We still need support from you. We need you to join TDI, become a member, share feedback, get involved, communicate with the FCC, tell them what you would like in the future. This isn't only for those who are deaf and hard of hearing, it's also for those who can hear. John?
I would now like to ask Sheila to join us on the stage, and all of the TDI current board members, please come to the stage. CM, John, Mark, Jarvis, Matt.
Come on to the stage.
Matt, Jarvis. The hotel staff will now start to distribute champagne for all of our tables. And you'll notice that we have a cherry in each glass to symbolize the red dot on the TDI logo. Also, you'll see that we have the circular red carpet by the Step and Repeat at the back of the room, again, to symbolize the TDI logo. Sheila has several things that she would like to say before we toast.
That is true.
Would you like to stand up, Sheila? Yep.
I better. I want to thank Claude and Jim House for compiling what became this book. It's a wonderful parting gift for you to go home with. I hope you'll enjoy reading through it. I also want to thank all of you for coming to celebrate tonight with us. And I want to thank the Gala Committee for all of your hard work in making tonight possible, including the Army of Volunteers who have worked so diligently so that you could enjoy the evening tonight. I want to recognize our past leaders and the people in the past who helped us with TTYs and captioning and hearing aids and our phones that have really saved our lives in some cases. They've been the ability to live independently, making our lives easier and easier, but as you heard, we have a lot of battles still to fight. We have a lot of progress still to make. And where will we be in the next 50 years? What can we imagine? With that, I'll ask you all to raise a glass. To TDI.
Very soon, we will be completed with our celebration. We will be setting up a YouthQuake here shortly. And I would like to have Matt come to the stage, but he's already here. And first, Angie, you want to say a couple of things?
That champagne was really good. I'd like another glass. TDI is strongly committed to improving communications access for all of us for the next 50 years. So thank you so much, TDI.
For the past 50 years, it's been amazing what we've accomplished, but there's a lot of work yet to be done. We need all of you. The board feels that we can advocate through the youth and have them become part of our future leadership to continue to provide all of the access we will need. And the gala is now over. The next exciting event this evening is the YouthQuake. Alex Abenchuchan, the Daily Moth guy. Alex?
Alex, are you out there? Everybody looks ready to dance.
Well, I will go forward with the introductions.
I just want to take a moment here to say thank you. I am honored to be your MC this evening, and I had so much fun tonight. I look forward to working with this TDI committee to make sure that the dreams come true, and I certainly had fun co-MCing with you, John.
Thank you, Angie. I would like to talk just a bit about Nico.
Sure, go right ahead. Oh, here comes Alex. Alex, can you introduce Nico? Yay, Alex!
Alex is going to introduce the next part of our program.
All right, all right. Okay, Nico DeMarco himself, a deaf individual from a fourth-generation deaf family. So how many years is that? I mean, it's at least 80 years back, yeah? He graduated from the Maryland School for the Deaf in Frederick. He is a fraternal twin brother of the Niall DeMarco, which, pretty good genes there. He's a professional DJ and has been doing so for the past 8 years, spinning on the ones and twos. He loves the 80s, the 90s, rap and hip hop and R&B music, and he is quite the dancer. I don't know if you guys have seen video of him. So he's got the beat that all of us are gonna feel for the rest of the evening. So I'd like to welcome Nico. Thank you. Take it away.
I'm not sure where Nico is at the moment, but we do need to clear some tables out the back of the room. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Nico, are you here? Right, and we just have a couple moments to thank our wonderful interpreters for the evening. Mark Seeger and Susan Thompson, thank you for interpreting, and here's Nico.
Are you ready to start your performance and take over the YouthQuake? Get their attention. Tell them that they should be ready to dance with you.
You've been sitting for a long time. Who's ready to get up and dance? Who is ready to party?
15 minutes, 5 minutes, it's your show.
No, now, hit it.
I can feel the beat. Thank you, interpreters, Mark, Susan, and the entire team of interpreters. Enjoy your evening. Good night.
That was good. The whole team. Nice. I know. Good work, everybody. Nice work. Guys, we did it. Cheers. We did it. Cheers.